Welcome back to the Zone MMA. Sean O'Connell, Dan Hardy, Claressa Shields back in the news. Two-time Olympic boxing champion, undefeated pro boxer, defended a belt. Again, Maricela Cornejo just did not have anything for the GWOAT, the greatest woman of all time, Claressa Shields. She's still dominant in boxing, Dan Hardy. Let's start there. What fights are there left for Claressa Shields, or is it time for her to come over and test herself again in mixed martial arts?
I mean, I just don't see anybody out there that's really going to challenge her right now. She's so dominant. I mean, she's just such a physical athlete as well. I mean, against Conejo, she just marched her down basically. Good head movement, very confident holding the center, and was pitching the right hand over and over again. Just didn't seem to land cleanly. I did think a couple of times though, if she was wearing 4-ounce gloves, it might have been a different story. And I would love to see her come back over to mixed martial arts. I watched her pro debut again the other day, and the first thing that struck me was how elated she was when she won. Like it was almost like it had reinvigorated her a little bit. I would imagine, being the best at something, and being head and shoulders above the rest of the division. It was nice for her to find a different challenge, and I would like to see her get back to mixed martial arts. I think she could be incredibly dominant there as well.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what her timeline looks like because, obviously she signed with the Professional Fighters League. It was an absolute blast watching her make her pro debut, where she passed a few tests, right? She's mounted and taken down and underneath a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. She didn't get to fight on her feet in that one, and that was the game plan to beat her, but she stuck it out. She was resilient. She found a way to win her pro debut, and then stepped up a little bit in her second pro mixed martial arts contest, took on a very game Abigail Montez, who had a solid game plan, and ended up dropping that one, which for Claressa Shields is a new experience, right? She doesn't lose in boxing. She probably doesn't lose in ping pong or table tennis, or whichever one you call it. She probably doesn't lose a lot in her life, right? And she's the type of person, as a multiple-time world champion, as an Olympic gold medalist, that either hates that so much she never wants to experience it again, or hates it so much she wants to come back to the sport of mixed martial arts and prove to people it's not going to happen, right? You can avoid it or you can overcome it. I'm curious to see which kind of competitor in MMA Claressa Shields wants to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could both. I think we could both guess the correct answer there. She'll be
Right.
back. She loves a challenge like that. You could tell, how, especially how satisfied she was with the fact that she did overcome adversity. I remember right after the fight, she was yelling over and over again, "I didn't quit. I didn't quit." And she was in some really bad spots. Most of the time, a fighter that's been mounted for that long is normally, normally stopped either with strikes or with the submission, and she was tough and durable, and she was able to stick it out until third round, I think it was, wasn't it, where
It was.
she started shutting takedowns. Her sprawl, we could start to see some of her takedown defense developing, and ultimately the power in her punches, whether it was on the ground or on the feet. You could tell that she's going to be really, really lethal when she starts connecting, sufficiently enough to satisfy her as a professional boxer. It's an adjustment of range, isn't it? You know what I mean? The difference in mixed martial arts compared to boxing, the different dangers that you've got when you're crashing forward. That was the thing she was struggling with, which, to be honest, you watch the Conejo fight and you think to yourself, if she'd have had the opportunity to double leg, she might have done, just to get away from that right hand. It's that's the other thing she's got to watch out for in MMA, is people dipping under that right hand when she's committing to it. It makes her far more timid to throw it, and that's something that she'll overcome with time. But when she starts placing that on people's chins in 4-ounce gloves, it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun for us to be sat outside the cage. Let's say that.
And, someone who's had this kind of success for such a sustained success in the boxing world, right? She's an undefeated pro. Adopting a new challenge and learning the new skills, as frustrating and as difficult as it can be, it just speaks to something in an athlete, right? Especially a high-level athlete like Claressa Shields, especially someone who's that level of achiever in life. You're learning new things and mastering new challenges every day once you fully commit to mixed martial arts. Is now the time? I would love to see it. Obviously, I'm not unbiased here. I want to see Claressa Shields back inside the smart cage. And if the gap between her and opponents in the boxing ring is going to continue to look like it did this past weekend, I just don't know how many more compelling boxing matchups there are out there for her. Whereas in mixed martial arts, everybody's a compelling matchup. So my unbiased take is it's time for Claressa Shields to jump fully into the MMA world.